Afternoon, this is Enrique on UATV channel, bringing the hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. So-called trial of 22 captured servicemen of the Azov regiment of the National Guard of Ukraine began in the Southern District Military Court of Russian Federation in Rostov-on-Don city. The so-called it is because it is illegal, violating the rights of prisoners of war as combatants according to international law. In addition, it violates the agreements that preceded the decision to end the defense of Azovstal. In the case of the Azovstal, the International Committee of Red Cross facilitated the safe exit of the combatants from its territory when interacting with the parties to the armed conflict. However, according to Ukrainian intelligence, there were 2,449 combatants and the Red Cross got the info only on 1,800 of them. Moreover, some prisoners were simply murdered in a staged blast in Olenivka prison on the occupied territory. Unlike Russia, Ukraine tries individual prisoners not for the fact of belonging to a specific formation or performance of their official duties, but for specific crimes committed individually. The Rostov courthouse is another manifestation of Russia's systematic violation of the rights of prisoners of war, including murder, torture, and physical exhaustion.
The photos of the show trial of Azovstal's defenders in Rostov are nothing but disgusting. Glossy prosecutors and dress-up jurors with brilliant smiles judge boys and girls who look like skeletons after a concentration camp and torture. Such abuse of combatants is an official war crime that has to be properly assessed by ICC. And yes, tell me, does anyone see any representative of the International Committee of the Red Cross in the hall? Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the Office of President of Ukraine, on Twitter.
But the real reason for the showcase trial of the Azovs is the intensification of hostilities in Ukraine. Russia uses POVs as hostages to make political demands. Another proof of Russian terroristic approach to anything. No fake sentences will hinder the process of prisoners exchange. Ukraine will free all prisoners of war from Russian captivity. All Russian officials involved will receive proper legal assessment from both Ukraine and international judicial institution. The temporarily occupied ZNPP, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, was inspected by agency's Director General Rafael Grossi finally. He stated that the water level remains at a sufficient level for the station to be able to maintain safety for some time. The Russian destruction of the Kakhovskaya HPP's dam created a threat to the safety of the ZNPP operation due to decreasing the water level in the cooling pond. The occupiers are openly blackmailing the world with the security issues of the nuclear facility created by them. The day before, the collaborator Rogov declared about the provocative actions of the Kiev regime to be expected. Russian propaganda spreads a fake video showing threats of the Ukrainian military to blow up the ZNPP. No doubt the occupiers will try to use the security risk of the ZNPP as an argument to persuade our Western partners to halt Ukraine's offensive actions. This is the exact reason for Russia to let Grossi at the site. The elimination of all threats and risks associated with the ZNPP will be possible only after the expulsion of the Russian occupiers from the south of Ukraine and unhindered access to the facility for Ukrainian and international specialists. The thing is about ZNPP, we would like you, dear world, to use what is going on there as a litmus. Russians are using nuclear facility as a chance to blackmail the international society. Putin won't stop at anything, literally anything. We want the whole world to know what Europe sees with Director General Grossi's eyes.
As reported by the Director General, the nuclear safety and security situation at the ZNPP continues to be extremely fragile and dangerous, with all the 7 pillars being compromised at all times. We condemned in the strongest possible terms the attacks against Ukraine's energy infrastructure, most recently the Kakhovka Dam, leading to its destruction and putting a serious risk to the safety and security systems at the ZNPP. We are extremely concerned over the increased military activity and presence at the ZNPP and the takeover of its operational control by the Russian Federation. EU statement at International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governments on Nuclear Safety, Security and Safeguards in Ukraine.
Again and again, before making any assessments on Russia, on whatsoever the matter, is we urge you not to ever care for what Russia says. And always, and we mean always, look at what Russia does. The Russian elite understands that they have lost. Andrei Yusuf, a representative of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, has stated that. According to him, the collective Putin, which is the closest circle of dictator, the people who make decisions, influence on decision-making, understand that Russia is in a dead end. Of course, they have no reason for optimism. This does not mean that it is easy for us, and it will not be easy. The enemy was preparing for the active actions of the Ukrainian security and defense forces, and today the whole world can see these multi-kilometer ditches, engineering structures, minefields, etc. But the global Russian so-called elite understands that they have lost, that a full-scale invasion of Ukraine was not just a mistake, but a crime. By the way, Defense Minister Shoigu and Putin personally talk about all the news from the war against Ukraine. This shows exactly that no one is trusted anymore, even within the country, and they have to fend for themselves. But very soon they will stop believing, added the representative of the main intelligence directorate. The intensification of hostilities takes place along the entire length of the front line. The defense forces of Ukraine continue to conduct both offensive and defensive operations. In the Berdyansk and Mariupol directions, Ukrainian forces are gradually but confidently moving forward. During the week, 7 settlements were deoccupied, 103 square kilometers were liberated. The Battle of Bakhmut continues. Ukrainian forces are advancing on the flanks, counterattacking and improving their tactical position. The enemy is suffering heavy losses. In some areas of the front, its losses in manpower are 6 to 9 times greater than on the Ukrainian side. Frantic attempts of Russian propaganda to underestimate the effectiveness of the Western weapons, on the contrary, testifies to the high effectiveness on the battlefield. Already now, the elites of the Russian Federation are trying to make contact with Ukraine and the West because of the obvious fear for their own future, the main intelligence directorate reported. More than that, after the start of the war, about 8,400 dollar millionaires left Russian Federation. Western sanctions have essentially closed the door on Russian billionaires and further pushed them towards the Kremlin, and they obviously don't like that. This increases Russia's control over their funds and supports Russia's goal to invest in Russian businesses. Stay calm. Help Ukrainian watch the upcoming episodes on UATV. State channel with me, Henry Keane, and my fellow colleagues bringing the hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. We will do our best to answer questions on our weekly wrap-ups. Your opinion is what matters the most to us. Stay safe and see you soon.